For the vast majority of you, when you open YouTube every single day, your channel lineup is probably going to look something like this. Every single one of these content creators has come up with their own thumbnail to make you click on their video, and they're all battling it out for this exact same spot every single day. Small disclaimer. All channels mentioned in this video I watch on a regular basis. I'm a fan of them all. They are being used as examples to show how YouTube has morphed tech channels into hot news. The definition of clickbait: content whose main purpose is to attract attention and encourage visitors to click on a link to a particular webpage. Hypocrisy is the exact thumbnail you clicked on to watch this video, but I blame YouTube. Now I'm going to do a little bit of bashing on my own channel, as I do deserve it. Even though I am a new YouTuber, I have used these same methods to try to get your attention. And as you can see, some of the videos that did pretty well, for an example, this one has 10K views. This title pops and is somewhat controversial. PC gaming is a mess. Going down to some of the older videos that were more basic, for an example, this PC that took me a very long time to build, it did very bad because the thumbnail itself is kind of boring. It's not doing anything controversial or negative, and it's just what it is. And unfortunately, videos that have these very negative or Asus controversy, 67,000 views, negative style content has been very, very popular lately. Now I'm going to use a few smaller channels as examples, and these are all channels that I genuinely like and watch. For an example, Not an Apple Fan. I'm actually a pretty big fan of Not an Apple Fan. His content is mostly negative. It's kind of aimed at the wrongdoings of Nvidia and AMD and all their mistakes that they make, so you kind of know what you're going into once you start following him on his channel. So he's been kind of doing this same style clickbaity titles: fail, this is insane, wrecked, wrong, Nvidia lies, and you just kind of get used to it. When you see it come up in the algorithm, you know what you're gonna get. Now jumping over to one of my favorite channels of all time, which is Hardw Unboxed. I'm sure you have heard of them, or probably if you're watching this, you watch them as well. This channel is great. They have always kind of stuck to their roots and done tons of benchmarking, CPU benchmarks, GPU benchmarks, and they're just an overall really, really dedicated channel. But I'm looking at 2015 to kind of give you an idea of how they used to advertise their videos. And now, jumping up to today's date, we're kind of having that same exact thing. Nvidia blocks reviews. Did it work? AMD sucks at marketing. Are we scared of Nvidia? Nvidia's $500 joke. As you can see, this trend kind of continues down, as far down as the last couple of months. Worst GPU ever. And it does align with the problem in the industry right now. We do have a lot of terrible deals out there. The video cards are overpriced, and there's just overall this negative connotation towards the hardware industry right now, and it's showing up in pretty much everyone's videos. Now, Hardw Unboxed isn't a massive channel. They're at 970K subs, which is a pretty good size, but when you consider how much work these guys do, how much hardware they actually have to buy because Nvidia doesn't always send them stuff, and other brands, just the time that goes into this channel is a lot more than people might know. This is like probably one of the most complicated channels out there. They have tons and tons of benchmarks. Everything you can think of is like packed into this channel. So I have massive respect for them, but I'm also wondering, are they at the point where they really need to be using titles like this, like clickbait kind of Nvidia blocks reviews, did it work? That kind of stuff I see a lot on these smaller channels, and now I'm starting to wonder if it's really just how YouTube's algorithm is completely screwing everyone over. It's like we have to produce this very controversial content on a daily basis, and it's really turning all of these channels into some sort of ABC, Fox News, CNN style video format. Even take a look at a channel like Nexus, which is another super informative, super in-depth channel. You can see if you go all the way back to 2017, they have a lot of titles that are just very what they are. The best 1080 Ti models, Case Awards 2017, i7 2600K revisit. And then if you jump back up to their modern day videos, you're starting to see that same exact trend. Now, obviously there's an argument to be made that they're just getting better at making thumbnails. And yes, a lot of them look a lot better than their older thumbnails, but again, if you really do look closely at many of the videos, they are kind of negatively focused or controversial in some way or another. Nexus is not as bad. They actually focus on a range of things, but I can't help but notice this trend in the industry, really just focusing on the bad all the time.
2016 called and it wants its resolution back.
I'm going to give you this last example of Jaystwocents, and then I'm going to jump to some channels that are really good, that are smaller, that really don't do this that often. As you can see here, he's kind of doing the same thing. He has a mixture as well. It's not all negative content, but there's quite a few like really controversial topics. Now, if you go back to his channel in around 2018, you can kind of see the change in attitude. You have a lot more informative and positive thumbnails, except for maybe this one. Just overall, the thumbnails are telling you what exactly the video is. Now, I'll play my own devil's advocate here and say maybe it's a good thing, and they're actually calling out companies, like for an example, this Asus video that I've covered in the past. They're calling out these companies and they don't care about burning contracts with them because, you know, they'd rather tell the consumer how bad of a situation it is, and so the controversy is valid. But then you kind of jump up here a little bit and he has the Asus RTX 4060 review, which is obviously a sponsored deal from Asus.
And that's why you are officially fired from this channel. But you don't care.
So I know I showed you a bunch of more clickbaity style channels, or channels that have clickbaity style thumbnails. So I want to show you a few good channels that actually use the older method, or the true to the content method. This is GGF Events. His name is Stuart. He's actually a really cool dude. I talk to him every once in a while, and he's been using this same method for quite a long time, just showing exactly what it is that he's building. He has beautiful pictures and nothing is really a trick. It's not like you see Joe Biden's face here or Donald Trump on this case. Everything is just, it is what it is, and he does a great job. Here's another great channel called Optimumtech, and he does an excellent job at his thumbnails and keeping his visual aesthetic super clean. Not very much clickbait going on. He's pretty much just showing you exactly what the video is going to be about. You pretty much know exactly what you're going to watch when you click on the video. It's funny, I actually was once subscribed to him and have been recently unsubscribed. Now, going back to my channel, subscribe if you want, you can see how kind of terrible it looks in comparison to Optimumtech. His channel, very clean, sophisticated. My channel, very clickbait. And that's really just because I'm small, I'm trying to get to the top, I need to use bright colors and grab attention, and honestly, I hate it with a passion. Now, I know what many of you will say, if you just create really good content and you don't worry too much about being clickbaity, then you'll just have your viewers come and your subs, and eventually you'll do really good on YouTube. But the problem is, a build like this, for an example, would take an entire weekend and it would cost quite a bit of money, and a lot of time goes into it with the customer. So when I post a video that takes maybe a couple hours, like this one here, and it gets almost 10,000 views, and then you spend an entire weekend on a build like this, and you only get like 560 views, it's a little bit disheartening. And sometimes, you know, it's like maybe the build is not that great or somebody doesn't like it, sure, but I have seen a pretty consistent trend of my builds not really doing as well, mostly because of the thumbnail. Now, I do want to reiterate that I'm not complaining about my views or any of that stuff. I really don't want to sound like I'm coming off that way. It's mostly talking about how people are forced to post now due to the YouTube algorithm, which everyone talks about time and time again, but it is kind of frustrating that we have to really drum up things more than they actually are. For an example, this is just an Intel Arc PC. I could make it a dumpster Arc PC and maybe it'll do better in the views, but that would be a very dishonest approach, and I'm not about that. So there's a good chance if you guys are still watching this at this moment, that this is the thumbnail I used for the video. You have the dumpster fire, the stop sign, the dumb graphics cards, and the hypocrite in the corner. I could have used something a little bit more clean, like this, but there's a good chance I skipped that because it's just not going to do as well in the algorithm. I want to leave you guys with this one last channel as an example, almost advocating for clickbait. This is a really amazing channel. If we just check out some of his builds, they are very well done, beautiful, and he does a ton of custom hardline, all sorts of different PCs. This is the first video that I actually found him from, which only has 6.4K views. And the reason why I found it was I was looking for this live mixer board, and I vaguely stared at the thumbnail, wondering if this is the model. And then when I clicked on the video, I found out, yes, it is the live mixer ASRock Z690 board. But there's one crazy thing about this channel. Even though this guy has really clean aesthetics, multiple videos over a 1-year period, he only has 494 subscribers. This to me was kind of mind-blowing because some of the work that he does on this channel is just absolutely amazing. For an example, look at this custom copper tubing system that he did here. Really nice stuff. This is like really high-end, very high quality builds, and yet 494 subscribers, mostly because I think the videos are not grabbing enough attention for him. And I don't know, that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? If you guys want to check out some pretty builds, I'll leave this linked down below. It's YGPC99, just a nice channel. And I want to hear your thoughts on the thumbnail thing. Does it drive you guys crazy? Would you prefer to see more clean aesthetics thumbnails, or are you okay with how everyone is having to do this on YouTube now? I also want to give a shout out to Papa Linus because I'm pretty sure he invented this. Anyways, this is a faceless video this time. Switching over some of my gear, so hopefully you guys will be seeing a cleaner looking image soon. And drop a like, subscribe, all that stuff if you want, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.